You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast. I'm Kev, your host as always, and for this week I'm joined by the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe and my fellow Trust board member and recognisable town fan Derek Sheppard. Derek, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome, mate. James, how you doing?
Yeah, buzzing, mate. Yeah, what a weekend.
Absolutely it was. So you are watching the Crystal Palace review podcast. Let's get stuck into it. Okay, so for those of you who had a few sherbets after the game on Saturday, grabbed a curry and thought they'd get back for about 11:30 at night, watch it on Match of the Day, and obviously missed it because incredibly we were first on the programme, even though Man City played Liverpool. Let's go through exactly what happened during the game. 2-1 win, James. I think we were all confident starting it that it was a game that we could win. We highlighted that in the preview podcast. But I thought for the first half, Jesus Christ, it was a terrible game of football. It was a championship game devoid of any real quality apart from a double save from Thomas Kaminski. And you're kind of like, this has got 0-0 written all over it when we got to half-time.
Yeah, apparently there was a game plan and they had been working on something for the entire week. I'm not entirely sure what that was, but... I could go into a lot of that, but ultimately I don't care really, because if they want to play that badly for the rest of the season and come away with loads of wins, we'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely we will. Derek, let's go right back to the start of the game then. When the team sheet came out, obviously there's no Marvellous Nakamba on it. Was you fearing the worst?
No, not really. I thought I'm not a great lover of Pelly Ruddock, but I thought that he turned around would do the job for us. But Ross Barkley, slowly but surely throughout the season, he's getting more match fit and he sits deep, he gives the ball away nice and easy. And when he drives forward, he turns around and opens up things for Luton Town. So it was disappointing not to see Marvellous, because you're obviously fair people like Eze running direct down the centre at you. But at the end of the day, it is what we got on the pitch. I mean, I was still hopeful with the side that was put out.
It sounds like it's a knee injury for Marvellous, and we'll probably talk a bit more about the impact that might have when we do the Brentford preview podcast later in the week. No Kabore, we kind of knew that wasn't happening when we did the preview, but Chio miraculously was good to go, and that was an immediate lift on the team sheet, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think he'd be playing at all. He couldn't get his foot in a boot for Ireland, but magnificent international break lead swing in there to get out of that so he can play against Crystal Palace. And yeah, what an impact he made, because the pass for the winning goal should have been XXX rated. Pornographic, that pass.
You've absolutely stolen my thunder with that. Not for that cross, but for another piece of play in the first half, which Derek's just alluded to. There was a pass from Ross Barkley to Alfie Doughty, a 60-yard raking pass that was so filthy that even though Match of the Day was on after the watershed, it still couldn't be shown on it. It was that filthy. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, Derek, what do you make of Ross Barkley? You've obviously supported Luton for a long, long time, and you go back to the days of Ricky Hill, David Priest, and all of the great Luton midfielders. Where has he got the potential to sit?
Well, with Ricky Hill, to me, first of all, he is the GOAT of Luton Town. But when Ross Barkley first came to Luton Town, I had my reservations because of his injury history. But he is now probably at the fittest he's been for some years, and he's now showing for Luton Town what he was showing as a 17, 18 and a 19-year-old when he was spoken about so highly within, this is the next future. And that's how I turn around and see Ross Barkley. Whatever happens to Luton this year, we stay in the Premier League or we get relegated, I just do hope that Ross Barkley stays with us, because if we are relegated, he will absolutely run the show in the Championship.
Yeah, that is for absolute sure. Listen, we are nowhere near done with the Ross Barkley loving on this episode of the podcast, or dare I say it, many of the 50 or so that are going to follow it, that's for sure. Did you see a tweet that he put on Twitter last night? He's finding his rhythm again. As in, he hasn't got his rhythm yet. I mean, Jesus Christ, what are we going to have when he's found it? It's like he's been one incredible footballer.
Yeah, he hasn't been shown any love for many numbers of years, has he? Since he went to Chelsea, and he was a bit part player and not the star attraction that he was at Everton. And then he goes to Nice, and I don't know what happened over there because I don't watch French football. But I think we talked about this early on. We said if they can, someone can throw an arm around him, and the fans can get behind him, and he gets used to this. We're always told about the dressing room as a unique dressing room. He gets used to that and enjoys it and knuckles down. And then when you're happy and confident, the good football comes out. And what we're seeing from him is stuff that we haven't seen in a Luton midfield shirt for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that pass was just incredible to Alfie, to be fair to him. And to be fair to Alfie, won us a corner from it, but couldn't get anywhere after that. But that was... he's some footballer. He really is. As I say, we'll come back onto him because he had a major part to play later on in the game. But before we sort of move on to the second half, Derek, that Kaminsky double save in the first half, he's really coming into his own between the sticks as a shot stopper, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm an old school person, and I turn around. I love to see goalkeepers come on a 6-yard box and going up to the penalty spot and collecting crosses. Unfortunately, that's not the modern way of goalkeeping. But Kaminsky, the first save was pretty quick, was pretty easy. But the second one, when he turns around and hits it, and then he takes a deflection, and he's still going and manages. And he doesn't just parry it away to where it's going to finish on a Palace player. He's turned around and parried it where it's fallen at the feet of a Luton player, and we've managed to clear the ball. The more that I see of Kaminsky as a shot stopper, he's an upgrade from what we've had in recent years. But as I say, I'm old school. I do love to see a keeper turn around and help the centre backs out and turn around and come and collect a ball. But that's probably not the modern way of goalkeeping.
Well, thankfully it wasn't at the other end as well, because we'll come on to the winning goal in a minute where the goalkeeper's had a right old mare for that one. But before we get there, I thought there were two turning points in the second half, James. The first one was when Ebere Eze went off, because as Derek alluded to, without Nakamba, he was just going right through the middle of us, left, right and centre, and wherever it was, he was dominating that first half. So when he went off, their shoulders dropped a little, ours kind of got a bit higher, and then the other turning point for me was the VAR disallowed goal. Me personally, I think the referee should see that all day long, but thankfully, and this is where the VAR is good, sorted it all out. Took far too long to sort it all out, but thankfully they saw that it was a handball, and the crowd lifted from that moment. And again, you kind of thought Palace were like, this is not going to be our day, and they slumped again. And I thought they were two big moments fairly early on in the second half.
Yeah, certainly that disallowed goal. I mean, I saw it easy as well because he was on that side where I was on the bobbers, and then I got to see it twice on a replay, which showed it definitively before the referee had even called for a VAR check. I'm like, how does it take that long? Ultimately, the right decision was reached. I was a bit worried because sometimes you never know how it's going to go. But it was a relief. He didn't celebrate that much, did he? Because I think he knew.
And everyone was ready for a free kick rather than a kick-off, weren't they? So they all knew that he'd handballed him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it did give that sort of impetus, I think, and the noise levels went up a little bit. And but I think you asked me about that first 20-25 minutes, which was pretty bad for a Palace side that don't really command much of the ball. I think we said they had like 43% average possession. They seem to be making up for the rest of their season in that 20 minutes when they just hogged it all and Luton could get out. But after that, I think Luton grew into it a little bit more, and then the second half was manic and bloody long. I felt drained today after it.
Well, it was long because they added 12 minutes to it at the end. A lot of people around me were kind of critical of that, but the second half didn't really get going for 8 minutes because you had the Eze injury and then you had the fella who got stretchered off. It's kind of 53 minutes before a game of football really broke out in that second half. But was you the same as me, Derek? Was when Eze went off, because they brought Jordan Ayew on, who, you know, I mean, that's like swapping caviar for crumbs out of bin, isn't it? Really, it's like. Did you feel a lot easier that once Eze went off?
Yeah, I mean, I saw Eze play the week before a match of the day when he was driving into the penalty box and causing all sort of havoc. I do think that Luton turned around and coped with him pretty well for the first 45 or the first 55 minutes, but he was still causing problems. When you turn around and get people driving at you, you get committed, you get pulled. You know, you're going to give away stupid free kicks in dangerous positions. I don't know if it was a changing point when he actually went off in the game. You know, I just think I was 100 yards away down in the corner of the enclosure, and I could turn around and tell from there it was handball. I can't understand how the referee didn't blow him from like 15 yards away, but there's no way he's lobbing that over the keeper, deft touch over him like that. But I think that was the turning point in the game. They got on a high, they got let down. We've gone up the other end and scored within inside 10 minutes. We've gone 1-0 in front. Unfortunately, pretty much like Burnley, we've gone within. Burnley was 50 seconds. This was like a minute and 50 seconds. 1-1, curled in the far side, exactly like Burnley. But the one thing on Saturday, we showed resilience and we didn't turn around and take a step foot and say we're going to play for a draw. And I thought Palace were happy for a draw. We drove at them, and it wasn't until we went 2-1 in front that they turned around and wanted to show what they turned around. They have got quality. They're a big physical side. But at times, we just start panicking. If we turn around and continue playing the football that we've played to get to the position we are, we'll be fine. But we just hit the ball up the field and just rather sit back. We sit back 18 yards, we get to 16 yards, we get to 12 yards, we get to 6 yards. Just play the football and how we got to where we are in the game. But we all say that. It's easier said than done. Ex-players understand, but we all do it as ex-players, and that's the way it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fair enough. That first goal, lovely ball in from Doughty. A little bit, it had Sunderland vibes about it, didn't it? In that the first goal for the playoff semi-final, pinballed around, and then Mengi's like, I'll take control of this one. Controlled it lovely for a centre-half, and then slotted it in the corner like a centre-forward. Then we've got the VAR check, which I've got to be honest, now I've seen it on Match of the Day, I'm very surprised they didn't look at that longer, because Chong is offside and in the line of the goalkeeper. And to be fair to Palace, I've heard no complaints about it, because there'd have been an awful lot of complaints if it was some other sides that happened to. But for a centre-half, what a lovely take and finish.
Yeah, the control was amazing. I mean, that's what you get if you sign players from the Manchester Academy, I think. Yeah, quality stuff. And considering that's his first senior goal, it was ice cold, absolute ice in his veins to stick that in the bottom corner. And you could tell it was his first senior goal when he started to celebrate, because he didn't really know what to do. He's like, he's running to the corner, but fair play to him. And it really should have been the fact that he could have celebrated that for a bit longer, and maybe even that been the winning goal, because, I mean, Elise's shot is a worldie, but whack him into touch or something, maybe Omari Bell, but, you know, it all turned out right in the end. It
did. I've got a bit of sympathy with Omari, because it looked like he had him down on that touchline, and then Elise's just put the afterburners on, and he's absolutely gone. He's run the ball out of play, by the way. There is absolutely no two ways about it. He ran the ball out of play. But then he was allowed to go on, and then once he cut inside, you just know where the shot's ending up. You don't even need to look at it. You've seen him play enough times, seen it on the telly. You just knew it was top corner bound.
Yeah. There's very few players who will turn around and hit the ball as crisply as that. I mean, he didn't go in just the top corner in the back of the net. It's hit the top corner in the side of the net. No goalkeeper in the world would have saved that. But it's not the first time that Elise's done it. And I was just turned around here when that was happening, and he's flicked it at the halfway line and turned around and get on the outside of Omari Bell. All I was turning around and was hoping for was just don't go showing him don't show him the inside. Either go the outside or just bring him down. We could have defended a free kick. We'd be defending corners and free kicks for our hearts of content with their deliveries. And unfortunately, Amari, his pace when he's chasing back has carried him further because he's not expecting him to cut inside. And when Amari's drawn level with Cisse, that's when Cisse's decide on cutting back inside. I mean, they said on Match of the Day last night it was a contender for goal of the season. Unfortunately, we've probably seen one today, probably better that, but that's the way Premier League football is, mate. You can turn around and go months without these goals, and then all of a sudden they're like London buses. They turn up in 2s and 3s.
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, Elise was quick to quieten or shush the Kenilworth Road end in his celebration, but he can be equally as quick to shush his goal of the season claims after that Garnacho goal for Man United, which also done Luton a bit of a favour earlier on today. Sucker punch, I've got to be honest with you, having celebrated the Mengi goal and then had that again, and you're all thinking Burnley. Of course we're all thinking Burnley. There ain't a person in the ground apart from the Palace fans who weren't thinking Burnley. But there's one thing about this team, and Derek highlighted it earlier on. They are as resolute and as game as they come, and they just picked themselves up, went again, and I mean the winning goal, it's like just slightly off the Liverpool goal, but it's almost an identical move, isn't it? Chong's carried the ball out this time. He's given it to Barkley, who yet again has timed a brilliant pass to Chio. The ball across, I mean, dear me. I mean, there's a lot of criticism about the way that Joachim Andersen defended it, but I suspect what happened there was he saw Sam Johnston wipe Jordan Clark out 3 or 4 years ago, and he thought that was going to happen to him. That's why he left it. And Johnston just stood and watched. And fair play to Jacob Brown, because we put 2 or 3 decent balls across earlier in the game and everyone stood watching it. But Brown was off the bench and he was in there, put it in. And I mean, jubilation was just much similar, if not more actually, to that Chong goal because of the dent that we'd just had.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was better. I think it was an absolutely outrageous pass from Chio to stick it in from there. Unbelievable. That's corridor uncertainty stuff, isn't it? That's what Anderton's got tied up with. And yeah, I mean, they worked on it as well. I spoke to Chio and Jacob after the game, and they were talking about that's a lot of what they were working on in the week. So I'm glad that's paid off. But Luton are first in the division for meaningful crosses in the box anyway. That one of the best ones.
I mean, it's just delicious, isn't it? As assists go. And also, you've got to factor in, Chio started the game wide left. He's now moved to right back because Doughty's gone off. Kind of a little bit of imbalanced, and that helped with the balance of it. But to curl that ball in, I mean, to be fair to Anderson, even if he tried to defend it, it was only going to end up in the back of his net anyway, much the same way that we've done it a couple of times in the past. And then, well, I mean, the last few minutes were just crazy.
Few? I've got far more grey hairs than when we started that extra time period. Bloody hell, where would you get 13 minutes from?
Well, we'll come on to that in a second, but before we do...
I've gone bald over it, James.
Before we do, James just highlighted that he spoke to Chio and Jacob about that winning goal, and well, let's get their thoughts then. Here's what they had to say to James after the game.
So you've been dreaming about that first Premier League goal, and it's a reality now. How's it measure up to the dream?
Yeah, honestly, I'm so buzzing. Like, obviously, you just dream of it, and I've been so close this season. And I think as it goes on, you're just thinking like, when's it going to come? And for it to come today, like, I'm honestly just so buzzing. I've not watched it back yet. I'm going to watch it a few times tonight. I'll be watching. You're going to watch that? Yeah, my missus will be fuming. I'll just be on my phone all night watching it. We'll watch Match of the Day. But yeah, no, the main thing is the 3 points, because like as a team we're all just supporting each other. So it's not about who scores. It's about getting the points and just the team performance, like the whole staff, the players, and you can see that we share that experience with the fans at the end. Like it means a lot to us. It's just a crazy feeling. Obviously, when I was coming off the bench, I just wanted to come on and help the team, and the ball from Chio was just perfect, and just get on the end of it. And yeah, we've got the goal, and managed to hold on to the end of the game, and it was just a great feeling and massive 3 points. We'd worked on it through the week because obviously the way we wanted to play today, we needed to get out wide and get the balls across the box. So as soon as Chi got it, I knew like where it had to be. And I think when you work on it like that and for it to actually pay off, like it feels even better. I think the cross was that good that the keeper didn't want to come out to get it and the defender didn't want to touch it in case he scored an own goal. So it was just sat there for me and just tapped it in.
Talk to us about that winning goal then, because that was some assist from you.
Yeah, I think who played it to Ross? Is it Ross played it out to me? But it was good play from the left, and we were able to get out. And obviously Ross ball carrying, which he's very good at, draws defenders to us when he was able to play me in. And I was looking for Eli at the back because I seen him waving at the back, but Brownie came storming in, and that's what we practice every time. Just put it in good areas and make people sprint into the box. And what you've seen in the second goal was exactly what we've been practicing in training. So I'm just so happy that we can replicate it in a match case scenario. And then obviously, hopefully, that will give us confidence that it is possible to achieve those and we can continue like that.
Great for Jacob as well, obviously, because he's been waiting for that first goal. And he certainly celebrated.
Jacob Bowney has been very patient. I think he started well at the start of the season when he came out the team, and trains very well. He's a very professional player. So for him to get that goal, I'm so happy for him, because when you're on the sidelines and waiting for your turn, it's easy to come on and just waiting, but he didn't want to wait. He was sprinting into the box, doing the right things, and I'm so happy he was rewarded today.
Yep, really great moment, and I'm glad those two were involved in it as well, because they've been key parts of our season so far, and to net the first Premier League home win was great. Let's go on to the end of the game. James, you mentioned where did the 13 minutes come from? As I said, the first 8 minutes of the half was a non-event because of the injuries. You're always going to get them back. Then the other 5, you got VAR checks, you got 3 goals, you got 4 subs. To be honest, I didn't think 12 minutes was out of line, but bloody hell did they feel like 12 weeks.
Honestly. I've been knackered all day today after that, because it was just so tense. Luton deserved that victory, but that 12 minutes made you think, what have they done to deserve that? Because it was just a siege, wasn't it? Like non-stop balls into the box. They got Mateta up front, who's about 9 million foot tall. The
Premier League Akinfen, where he's just a unit.
Absolutely unbelievable stuff. But you'd maybe think that Luton might crumble under that, but they were absolutely immense. And I thought Mengi had a great game anyway. There's great shouts for all over the park to give anyone man of the match. I give it to Mengi for that injury time regard, because every time a ball went up there, he was on it. A couple of times Osho, Lockyer was fantastic. The 3 of those in defence were wonderful. And Osho and Lockyer with the ball at their feet bursting out of defence was pretty good. But it just felt like Mengi was like, right, I'm not going to have the winning goal. I'm definitely going to make sure we win this game.
And thankfully, Derek, he had the woodwork to assist him as well, because that would have been the ultimate cruelty had Lerma's header have gone in. Thankfully, it hit the crossbar or the post. I don't really care which one it hit. I'm just glad it hit something and bounced out. But you need a bit of luck to win a game of football, and that was our bit of luck to win that game of football.
Yeah, there's been times this season when we thought, we were 0-0 at Fulham, and we turned around, there was a stone cold penalty when the bloke's on the line on the floor and he rugby tackles Morris down there, is going to go to the far post, which is our standard move to head back in there. Why is that not even a penalty? And a 0-0, you're not guaranteed of scoring a penalty, but if you do score, you're 1-0. And the game changes. So I'm not a great believer that things even out within a season. They probably even out over a span of 10, 12, 20 years or whatever. But, we did deserve the fortune. If he turned around and put the header anywhere within the goal, bar down the middle where Comiskey was, Comiskey was coming out for the ball. So practically anywhere inside the goal would have been a goal, but he got too cute with it. Since Mengi's come in, and he's played on the left-hand side, he's played in the centre, he's played on the right-hand side, I think he's made the back 3 for Luton Town a lot stronger. He's so physical on the floor, so physical in the air. His passing isn't great, but he's a young lad, it will come. But I think that he's made Luton a lot better, or a lot stronger defensively, And since he's come in, we're able to stay in games a lot longer, and I think he's been a great difference to Luton Town. Now, I do love Reece Burke, and I think Reece has really adapted early in the season to Premier League football. But if I turn around and had to name 3 centre-backs, I'd have Locker and Mengi plus any other. And that's on my team sheet.
Yeah, you kind of preempted my question there, mate. I was going to ask you if Mengi stays in the team if everyone's fit, and I would absolutely agree with you. I mean, I've spoken on how many podcasts I've spoken about this guy. He's going to be special. I saw it at Exeter. I wrote about it on James's website. There's something special about this bloke. What I like about him, and we saw it so evidently yesterday, he's aggressive in the air, and he gets up so bloody early, doesn't he? As soon as that ball's left the crosser's foot, he's up there, and he seems to hang up there for like ever and a day. And Mateta's like, will you get off me? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, I will, but I'm heading the ball away first. And it's like, how do you do it? He's just, apart from the one that Lerma hit the crossbar in, they must, I'm not even exaggerating here, they must have slung 30 crosses in the box in that 12 minutes. And 29 of them were nutted away by him. It was just an incredible passage of play.
It's kind of enjoyable in hindsight, but at the time it was pretty painful, wasn't it? Oh my God, every second felt like a year, and it just went on and on and on, and you just felt something was going to drop for them. And it did, obviously it did, because Lerma had the header, but like, you know, Edwards has been saying for weeks, well, he's been saying since the entire season, you're going to win games, you've got to ride your luck a bit, and your keeper's got to pull off some saves, which he did, top draw ones, maybe at the woodwork, and then come out of it like that. But that was the long. I think Rob Edwards said afterwards, the longest football match he's ever been involved in where it's not gone to extra time. I'd probably make him right on that.
Something about when Sam Johnston's keeper, isn't there? Because there were nearly 20 minutes at West Brom that day when he wiped Jordan Clark out. 13 minutes they ended up playing yesterday. It was, I mean, it's like, come on, ref. And then you only had to look at Mengi's reaction after the game. He literally just collapsed to the floor, didn't he? He was, for the want of a better word, Donald ducked. He was absolutely out on his feet. Well, not even on his feet. He was absolutely flat out. And fair play to him. And then those scenes afterwards, Derek, I mean, that's what we've waited for all season, isn't it? That home win, celebrating with the players, backs to the wall effort. It's everything that's got us here and everything that we enjoy about it.
Those 12 minutes seem like, 2.5 hours. And I agree with every one of you. I mean, apart from O'Shea winning a couple, I thought he was superb. Mengi is so physical and everything. And it was hard to watch when you turn around and 2-1 up and you're clinging on. And I'm just thinking, just keep playing the way you've been playing. But unfortunately, as I said in life, in football, you get deeper and deeper and deeper. But it was hard at times. But they did deserve what they got there. Luton Town were brave enough to turn around and not sit on a 1-1, where I think Palace, when they got to 1-1, they were happy enough with the draw. Luton turned around and then went up the field and we scored the second goal. And that turned around and that galvanised Palace. But that's what you would expect from any Premiership side. They've turned around and got the experience of being in there for years and years, and you've just got to keep going. And unfortunately, at times, Luton is still learning. We will be a better side in February than we are now, because we will continue learning the pace of the game, the physicality of the game. You can't make mistakes; you get punished, and all sorts.
I couldn't agree with that anymore if I tried. The thing is, we're learning every single game, and then when you put a collective of 10 games into it, you can really see the improvement.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, from going from Brighton away first game of the season when we try to play on the front foot, and you're getting caught out because you're throwing people forward. You're 1-0 down, you chase the game. You go 2-0 down, you chase the game. You go 3-0 down or whatever, 3-1. And with 3-1, you're still trying to get a 3-3 draw from it, and you go and get caught down the other end. And then we go to Chelsea. Unfortunately, we didn't play Burnley in between, but you go to Chelsea and we fall 1-0 down to an early goal, which is probably Sterling's best goal he scored in, 2 years or whatever. But, and then we're as much in the game from that time there until the 73rd or 74th minute when they scored their second. And they only scored their second on the break because we're turning around and looking for an equaliser. But since then, take off the Villa game, and I still think we played quite well at Villa, but they are very strong. They're 6 from 6 or whatever at home this season. Every other game, we are being so competitive. And if only we can turn around at home and can repeat the performance that we turn around, or the energy we put out when we play Liverpool, if we can repeat that for the other 13 home games, we can get another 6-7 wins. 6 wins is 18 points on top of what we've already got. 30 points will probably turn around and near enough guarantee you from staying up this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think 30 points. You get 30 points, you sign up to that, and come what may, the win is everything. Of course, it's everything. Who cares how we played? Was it Luton's best performance on Saturday? Was it Eck? We were much better against Liverpool. We were probably better against Wolves and Burnley. Didn't win any of those games. No one cares. You've got to win games of football to stay in this league. But what that win in particular, the mentality that win will bring the squad. They've got that monkey off their back, if indeed it was one. They know they can win at this level. They know they can win home games. They know they can win when they don't play well. They know they can win when they get a sucker punch and a right kick in the you-know-whats. That is going to do so much for, let's be honest, we've got a fucking tough month coming up. It's going to do so much to carry us through that month.
Yeah, I mean, we called it a must-win because of that month that they've got coming up. But it's going to be a huge turning point. We'll be waiting for that home win, obviously, and it's coming. Everybody was so delighted about it. I think there's other things surrounding it as well, which when you look back on it, you'll start to think, hold on, we've got a chance here. I think the players know it anyway, but even to the point that Luton are first on match of the day, and then Ian Wright's waxing lyrical. It's the second time he's done it as well. They're not doing that about the other 2 promoted teams, and now we're starting to pull away. We've got that points gap as well.
4 point gap.
4 points. 4 points. And it's looking a lot healthier. Now, we haven't reached the target of it yet, but those noises about you're not even going to get Derby's points total, they're sort of going now, and you can look to Burnley for that, I guess. But I think that the confidence that all of that breeds really is paramount. The point that Ian Wright was making, and don't forget he's Mr. Palace as well, it's Palace era, isn't he? And saying that Luton are so competitive, and they are. You take those 3 games, the first 2 games, and then the Aston Villa one, which Derek said, then they're only losing by the odd goal, and sometimes just the odd mistake. And yeah, if you keep progressing and keep playing better, or keep learning and to play that way like they did, which was more resilient than better, then you're going to pick up better results, I think. And I'm sort of more confident than ever, really, about the prospects. And we've got 4 or 5 players that aren't even in the squad because they're injured. What's it going to be like when they come back?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, if you said to me that we were going to be a decent Aston Villa side without Marvellous Nakamba, without Issa Kabore, who, affected the balance of that side, and without a couple of other sort of they were key men at the time, weren't they? Anderson and Burke, and 1 or 2 others who clearly aren't fully fit, but they're putting a shift in because that's what they need to do. I'd have been like, I'm not sure about that, but that's what.
Did we beat Aston Villa?
That's what these boys. Did I say Aston Villa? Yeah. Well, I'm saving that for when they come down in Crystal Palace. They've both got some blue in their shirts. It's all right. It's fine. I'd have been like, I don't know about that, but that's what we do, isn't it? We've shown it in the Championship promotion season, in the Championship playoff season, when we had no centre-backs, we had to put full-backs in there, we had to put midfielders in there. We keep clean sheets. It's what this club does. They just keep going.
I'd like us to keep a clean sheet in the Premier League, but it comes down again to recruitment, and you're seeing these players come in there, and there's just something about Luton Town. Their research into players and your recruitment, very few sides will improve year on, year on, year on, year on. And we're fortunate enough that we turn around, we're unfortunate enough to turn around and see practically kicked into exile, and we've ended up in the conference. But there'll be very few sides. I mean, I think it's only Notts County or Wrexham who can actually end up being in the conference back to the top flight of football, as in they were before. But they ain't going to do it in the time span that Luton Town have done it. And all the money that Wrexham are going to throw at it, you're going to get caught out in the end. And that's what I love about this club. We turn around, we don't throw money at things. We turn around, we have a structure. We take each step by step. We might not reach the plateau we want to each year because obviously we aim high. But, we're a side here in the Premier League, and if we stay up there, that will be a kick in the teeth to the Premier League. Every side who gets promoted from the Championship thinking we've got to spend 150, 200 million, we're going to turn around and do it on a 20, 25 million pound budget, and with the lowest salary paid out to players. And you've only got to turn around and listen to these players. They all turn around there. It's not just this year or whatever, or the year before. They all turn around and say, when they come to this club, there's just this a buzz and a vibe. It is an absolute pleasure to come into work. There's not many people who can turn around and say that every day that they turn around and go to work. It's a pleasure to go to work. But these lads turn up there. It's a pleasure to work. And when it's a pleasure to work, they'll put their effort out on that pitch. And that effort that they put out is their rewards. I couldn't be more proud of the side that I support. And I've turned around and been watching Luton Town since the early 70s. So,
yeah, no, well said. I think we're all immensely proud. And that 10-year journey, James, I did an interview with Football Focus. Well, I say I did.
Kevin Palmer did.
My identical twin, Kevin Palmer, did, yeah. Did an interview with Football Focus beforehand, and the last question I got asked was I enjoying the Premier League? And absolutely, I'm enjoying the Premier League for the reasons that Derek's just said. 10 years ago, it was 10 years ago to that very day of yesterday, wasn't it, that Steve McNulty stuck that screamer in the top corner against Southport. That's where we've come from, to be beating a team like Crystal Palace, who pretty established in the Premier League now. It's fantastic, and the boys deserve everything they get because they are absolutely putting in everything they can possibly put in, both in training, as you alluded to earlier, but particularly on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon or Friday night or Monday night or any other bloody time they want us to play in this league.
Absolutely. I think we've been quite positive and upbeat on this podcast. Maybe not the Burnley one. We were devastated by that one, but what a difference a couple of weeks makes, or a month or whatever it is. I think it's a different set of challenges, different set of things to enjoy about this. Obviously, you're not beating all before you and winning loads of games, which is what you ultimately want. But we've been seeing progress, and we've been seeing development. We've seen players come in and step up to the task and really learn quickly in a way that you can't say that about Burnley. And they ran away with the Championship, but they've come up to this division hoping they can still play the type of football they were playing back then. But there's loads of teams that can play that better in this division, whereas Luton are trying to play what's in front of them and understand that they're not going to be the best footballers there, apart from when Ross Barkley is on the ball, and just like really stick in games like they have been and make it difficult. And then now we've seen the last two home games at least can go away in the last, in the dying embers of a game and get goals, and that's a great platform, I think, to start from.
They play to their strengths and abilities. Our thing is to turn around there. We don't want to have the ball. We don't want to have loads of possession. We'll turn around and we'll suck it up or whatever. But we have these two lads, in last year, whatever, in the Championship, two large lads up front. Now we're probably only playing with the one. But Morris turns around and just, honestly, he hasn't. People go on about him. He scored like 3 goals, 2 penalties, and one on a volley against Everton from the free kick. And he hasn't scored really in open play. But I just ask those people, the amount of running that lad does, or whatever, he creates so many channels for other people to turn around and run in behind. And we play to our strengths. We're the Wimbledon of the 1980s or whatever in the top flight of the division. We do play direct, but why should we play any different? That is our strength. Other sides ain't used to that. They're all used to this ticky-tacky football or whatever, you play it around the backs or whatever, short corners and whatever you want to do. That's why Burnley got found out. Burnley were by far the best side of the Championship. And they come down to Luton Town this year and they turn around and beat us 2-1. We didn't show up until the second half, if we turned up at all. But, they turn around, fair play. They beat us 1-0 last year with a penalty. They've gone and beat us 2-1 this year at our place. We were probably maybe fortunate that we got there, played them second game of the way from home last year and got a 1-1 draw. But they do, as you turn around and said, James, they turn around and play this football, and it is nice football, but they showed yesterday against Arsenal, or whatever I can't remember. It wasn't Arsenal, was it? But they
West Ham, wasn't it?
West Ham. They turn around. They do play this nice football, but every side in the Premier League play that type of football, and they're that step up there. You've got a £20 million player. The opposition have got a £50 million player. These sides aren't used to this turnaround, this physicality and this directness that Luton turn around and play. We may get found out second half of the season when we play these sides again. That's why it's important that we get as many points this half of the season. Long may it continue, because this is just the Luton way. We don't do things conventional, do we? We all know that as Luton fans. Anything you can turn around and stick your two fingers up at the FA or the Football League or whatever, or the injustices we've gone through. Unless you've been a Luton fan, you do not absolutely. You can read about it, but you don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. So in the same year as Luton Town turn around and get 10 points deducted for a use of illegal agents or whatever, and paying out of hand. At the same time, Tottenham Hotspur and Portsmouth have turned around and done this underhand deal with an agent that's unregulated, and then 3 months later, the person from the FA ends up at Portsmouth. It comes out in the washing in the end. It just absolutely stinks. And they turn around and try to make an example of Luton Town. And every time that we turn around and we go and absolutely improve, it's just sticking two fingers up at the authority.
You're absolutely right. I certainly don't disagree with that. And actually, to be fair to Roy Hodgson, he was full of praise after the game, wasn't he?
Yeah,
about
100%,
about us, about the journey, and about everything. Do you know what? I'm really starting to warm to Roy Hodgson. He took the Scummers down. He clapped the Palace fans on the day that he done it, and now he's bigging up Luton's journey. I mean, I've almost forgiven him for Iceland now. I'm not there yet, but I'm close.
Yeah, I mean, he's long in the tooth. He knows the score, and when football memories are quite short, really, aren't they? But he would have seen what's happened there, and I mean everything that's happened in the last weeks or so with the Everton points deduction. We know that Man City have got 115 charges that they're not being very helpful over, and Chelsea ran an investigation, and that Tottenham one came to light since the last podcast we did. So I don't know if that's been charged or anything, but I think it's an investigation, isn't it? So I think we probably have to outline that. But you've got all these situations, and Luton, they're just plugging away, doing their own thing, doing everything the right way, not breaking the bank, but creating this sort of identity and unity with the players and the fans, and everything that that long journey has brought us up to was what came out of the final whistle, I think, against Crystal Palace. I mean, we've heard roars before, particularly in last season. We always highlight them. Watford, Sunderland player final was amazing, but spine tingling it was.
It was brilliant. It was an absolutely superb win for Luton Town. Obviously, everyone in the ground, every Luton fan, whether you were there or whether you weren't there, would really feel great about it. But let's find out what another player felt about the victory, because James didn't just speak to Chio and Brown. He also spoke to one of the many heroes on the day, Teden Mengi. Rather than focus on the goal, though, we got his opinion on just what that win will do for confidence going forward and how they can take that into next Saturday's game against Brentford.
And what do you think that victory can now do? Because it's something hanging around doing your next, not necessarily the performances were decent, but not getting wins.
Yeah, just motivate us really. Just prove to us that we can get results, and we can do what we do is in our hands really, and if we believe that we can win games and get points on the board, we can do that, and we proved it today. So we just take, like I said, we take the winning feeling into the next games, and we get the points required on the board, and we just keep on climbing from here.
The games are tight, aren't they? When you have been losing,
yeah.
Odd goal here and there.
Yeah.
But if you can do as you did there, score. But they scored an equaliser, but then you come back and rally and get it again. That's something to really. I mean, you've been improving week by week anyway, but that's another thing you can sort of add to your list.
Yeah, like you said, it's been where in recent weeks when we've been losing, it's only been by fine margins. So if we can just iron out like the final details of the conceding as soon as we score, if we can just iron that stuff out, like we can really rack the points up and go and do well this season. We cherish this moment, and we take it into the next games, and we get the results.
Good to hear from Mengi. Obviously, his first goal, huge moment for him. But like he said, it's all about focusing for next week. And that was very much the thoughts of Rob Edwards after the game as well. We sent James along to his press conference after the game, where the thoughts have already turned to the game against Brentford. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, it was lovely. I mean, the fans deserve it. It's nice for them to be able to celebrate it tonight. They've got to enjoy it. How difficult it is to win games in this league, and we'll enjoy it. But today wasn't perfect. It was a perfect result for us, but it wasn't perfect. The performance can still improve. It needs to improve. So we'll get back to work and keep working hard on getting better. But again, it's important for everyone that can to enjoy it as well tonight, because it's difficult to get 3 points in this league. Me, I'll probably start watching Brentford on my laptop. That's
what
it.
about the rest of them?
No, hopefully the lads can enjoy it. I'm not I don't want us having a party or anything. We've done nothing. We've got 9 points. I don't think that's anything to be going out and going to the nightclub and having a flipping disco or anything, or a party. How old did I sound there? I'm like having a disco. I don't know where that came from. We enjoy it, but we've got to go again. Brentford's really difficult next week, and then we've got Arsenal and Man City to look forward to. So we've got to keep improving and getting better. So enjoy the moment, enjoy the feeling. It's nice. The players can enjoy their weekend, of course, but it's back to work quickly.
Okay, gents, it's only fair that we finish this podcast off by eulogising over our number 6 again, because, he is the person who's going to keep Luton in the Premier League, isn't he? Let's not make no bones about it. Everyone at that training ground knows Ross Barkley's the standout individual down there. And if Luton do stay up this season, he's going to have pulled off enough magic to do it, because he's so calm on the ball, he's so solid on the ball, he's so good on it, he uses it well. The only thing we haven't seen from him yet, and it will come, particularly if he's still finding his rhythm, like he said on Twitter yesterday, the only thing we haven't seen yet is a strike from edge of the box or slightly further that ends up in someone's top bins. And he's got 6 games coming up in December that if he wants to choose 2 or 3 of them to pick it out in, that would be very, very handy. He's a world-class footballer playing in a Luton shirt, and I love to see it.
Yep, I've been seeing all over the weekend people.
He can't clap, although to be fair, he's getting much better at that. And he's even waiting now till the end, isn't he? And quite rightly so, because he deserves the plaudits all on his own. But he's a world-class footballer.
He is. And when you see people on social media over the weekend going, he's one of the best footballers I've seen in a Luton shirt. It would be different generations, obviously, because I never saw Ricky Hill play. Well, I did, but not I don't remember it properly. I was too young to really sort of analyse the game, really. He is. He's top draw footballer, and it would come out even more if he scores a 30-yard barnstormer or something. But just in the simple stuff, like you highlight the pass he made for Doughty in the first half, and the pass was unbelievable. But a little sort of drop of the shoulder, a little bit of a turn, gets away from players, and then you can spot that. And you'd like to think that most footballers can do it, but they can't, because otherwise that would be happening all the time. Spot it and do it is unbelievable. Let's get it right. There's only him and Eze on that pitch yesterday, maybe a touch of Michael Elise as well, who can even see that, let alone actually deliver it. It was sensational. It was, but it's control in tight areas as well, and he's not panicked at all. He can either knock it off to another player and do a little 1-2 and get out of it, or he's quite comfortable to go on a little dribble, and he's got the strength to do it. And he was just absolutely outstanding in everything he did. And like I say, if it wasn't for Mengi's last 13 minutes, he played well all game as well, but that last 13 minute stand where he just was not having it whatsoever, he'd have been my man of the match. And that's harsh on Kaminsky as well, because he was wonderful too.
It's harsh on a lot of people, actually, to be fair. Derek, I've already started the Alfie Doughty for England campaign. Do I start the Ross Barkley for England campaign? I guess if we're still having Jordan Henderson in an England squad, we should be talking about Ross Barkley in an England squad, should we not?
Well, first and foremost, Kev, my daughter would be proud or love it that you're turning around and shouting for the Alfie Doherty. She's got to turn around and got the new shirt with the 45 on the back and Doherty. I don't know. So I'll try to remain level-headed. I've seen some great players turn around and play for Luton Town, and I've seen some... The word legend is thrown around too much, whatever, in football. There is one or two people I'll turn around and put the legend take up with Luton Town. But Ross Barkley, I'm excited, and I feel, if Ross Barkley can turn around and remain fit the rest of this season, Luton do have a real chance to turn around and staying up, because one man can't carry a whole team on his shoulders, but he can have a big say in matters. Whether if he can turn around and keep playing the way he is now, and still put that maybe the extra 5% when he's turned around and saying that he's not quite there in the rhythm, that will be massive for Luton Town.
Yeah, it really is. I don't mean to put too much pressure on your shoulders, Ross, but hey, you're used to pressure. You're more than capable of carrying that pressure, that is for sure. Kind of fitting that I spoke about Ross Barkley for England, because it was a sad day for English football fans today with the news that Terry Venables passed away. James, he'll have been the best England manager of our lifetime. He came within Gazza's toenail of bringing football home in 96, one of the best summers that I've ever had, largely down to the football that his England team played, the night that they took Holland apart, the goal against Scotland. Everything about that summer was just fantastic. And it's just sad that a really good England manager, and indeed player before him, has sadly passed on.
It is. I didn't even realise he was 8 years old. But he's been in the game a long time. But that summer, 96, was one of my formative years. I mean, it was unbelievable what he did there. And I've seen the documentaries and everything about it since. And he almost just let that England squad go out there and play with the freedom, because they had those players that could do it. And it's just sort of like, I'm not that interested in England at the moment. I'll watch them when they get to the tournament, obviously, but if only Gareth Southgate could let those players let the shackles off and just play with a bit of freedom and play players who are in form for starters, that would help, and players that are actually playing in top divisions, that might help as well. But
hello, Alfie Doherty.
Yeah. But yeah, what he did for that team, and how his spell at England ended as well, and what came after was I just felt that they could have gone to that World Cup in '98 under Terry Venables and been so much better than they were. But that's the FA for you. That's the FA for you.
And I remember my dad was a Chelsea fan, and I turned around and I remember him talking about Terry Venables. I mean, I was born in '63, and he turned around and talked about Terry Venables. I was lucky enough that one of the first games I turned around and saw was in the '67 All-London Cup final, Tottenham against Chelsea, but Terry Venables was playing for Tottenham at the time. And, I'd turn around and watch England. Venables was an entertainer on the field, but Terry Venables took what he did on the field off the field of play. He was unlucky in '96 because we're a penalty kicks away from Germany. If we turned around and got past that, England would have been Euro champions. If Terry Venables was in charge of England today with the group of players that we've got, England won't be ranked number 4 in the world. England would be ranked number 1 in the world, because he'll turn around and he'll just play on the front foot. He's a great believer that we will score, we might concede 3, but we're going to score 4 or 5. We're not going to have this sturgid football. Venables was 20 years in front of his time. He changed Spanish football when he was at Barcelona, and he's done it throughout his career. Condolences to his family and friends. Send you all the best wishes. Prayers will go out to you all. Thank you very much, Mr. Venables, for turning around there. Someone like myself, giving me the enjoyment in my younger years. So you've been an absolute blessing to football, and you're one of the people that will be truly missed. Thank you very much.
Yep, here. As I say, James and myself revel in memories of '96 for a long time. So yeah, rest in peace, Terry Venables.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for this episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast. My thanks go to everyone who has watched or listened to the podcast, however you've consumed the podcast, to James and to Derek for joining me to review Luton's second win of the season. Our thanks also to the Hightown Club who've hosted the episode. If you have heard a little bit of background music towards the end of the episode, they do have entertainment downstairs. We'll try and dampen that out as much as we can, but you might just pick up the odd sound here or there. We hope you haven't lost your enjoyment too much from that. Thanks to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music, and to Ed Smith Creative for all the designs that you see on our set. Until the next podcast, which will come along later in the week, where we preview our away game at Brentford, all I've got left to say is come on, you Hatters.
Can you believe it? We are Premier League! Yes!
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got these massive souls.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.